vulnerable, that I do not know if I'm naked or not, and I'm not willing to look down to see my legs or to see my body, because the feeling of being naked and the feeling of shame and everything is so overwhelmingly intense. I really can't even cope with it, and I'm even was wanting to die. I was hoping that the earth would open up or the building would crash down or something, because the feelings were so intense.
Dr. Michael Irving, a Toronto-based psychotherapist, researcher, and artist, speaks from a painful past on the most insidious effects of sexual abuse experienced at a young age.
Or my father brought me to where a number of men had sex with me in a row, and I had to sort of put up with that. And in some ways I had to do what they wanted me to do to get by. I got by at the moment, and if you'd taken a picture of me at the moment, you would have got one portrait. If you'd taken a picture of me the next day or taken a picture of my mind the next day, you would have seen a very different picture. Often when you see child pornography or you see a child in the sex trade, you are seeing a child under severe abuse who has had multiple experiences of trauma inflicted by multiple people on multiple times. So to cope with that, most young children will create some form of dissociation, some form of dissociative disorders, where the way that they behave in one circumstance will be different than another circumstance. I didn't speak until I was 4.5 or so. I couldn't find words. And that at 35 years old, I had a writing ability of a 5th or 6th grader. I couldn't write a paragraph. That I was, that I couldn't cognitively process, because what I had to cognitively process was overwhelming. And I also couldn't cognitively process because I was shown either through beatings or through electric torture or other torture that I was not to know what was being done to me, that I was not to tell anyone else, that I was not to even tell myself. People who are abused as an infant, as a young child, we see that the foundation of the mind, the foundation of the heart, the foundation of the soul, and its ability to mature and its ability to develop is quite arrested. And you'll see grown-ups that in fact are infantile in different ways, maybe in their behavior or their attitudes or their belief systems or their thought processes. Abuse that happened to me when I was young to not remember, and were you know, if I could come up with a word, I was inflicted with another abuse, and if I could remember what to say, I was inflicted with another abuse. That shut down my ability, my musical abilities, which have never really come back. I can appreciate music, but when I was in early grade school years, I used to hear classical music in my head, and I walked down the street and I just enjoyed listening to these classical concerts in my mind. So some part of my brain was able to remember and to recall and to experience that. And then after a particular series of abuses that happened to me that was about forgetting some certain locations where things were happening, the music was gone, and it's never come back.